Welcome aboard, explorers. This is Captain Discovery, and today we're unlocking the secret world of how U.S. money is made. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing, often called the Money Factory of America, prints over 38 million notes every single day. That adds up to about $540 million in new U.S. currency every 24 hours. But have you ever wondered how that money is actually made? What kind of paper is used? How do they make sure every dollar is real and impossible to fake? And what happens if just one bill is slightly off? Long before the US dollar existed, people traded goods through bartering or used valuable items like salt, animal skins, or metal coins as money. After gaining independence in 1776, the United States needed a national currency to unify its economy, leading to the creation of the dollar through the Coinage Act of 1792. This new system introduced coins made from gold, silver, and copper, and was one of the first in the U.S. to use a simple decimal format. During the Civil War, to quickly raise funds, the government began printing paper money known as greenbacks, marking the start of widespread use of dollar bills. To manage the growing economy, the Federal Reserve was established in 1913, providing better control over money supply and inflation. In 1971, the U.S. completely removed the gold standard, meaning the dollar was no longer tied to gold but backed by trust in the government. Since then, the dollar's strength has relied on the stability of the U.S. economy and its role in global finance. Today, the U.S. dollar is the world's leading currency, used in over 80% of international trade, and held as a reserve by central banks around the globe. Before any dollar is printed, it begins with a design, carefully crafted by expert engravers at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. These artists draw detailed portraits of U.S. presidents, national monuments, and symbols like the Great Seal. But more than beauty, each line and shadow is a defense against forgery. Watermarks and special patterns are added to confuse counterfeiters. Once the design is complete, it must be approved by the Secretary of the Treasury. It is then digitized using high-tech software, creating printing plates accurate to the tiniest detail. Every dollar bill you hold today was once just a sketch, made to look good and protect even better. Unlike normal paper, US dollars are printed on a unique blend of 75% cotton and 25% linen. This gives them strength, flexibility, and a texture that's hard to copy. If you look closely, you'll see tiny red and blue fibers inside. These are added during paper production to prevent counterfeiting. Even more impressive, each bill includes a security thread and watermark baked into the paper itself. Only one private company, Crane Currency, is trusted to make this special material. The material arrives in large sheets, with each sheet holding 32 or 50 bills, depending on the denomination. This paper may look simple, but it's one of the most secure materials in the world. Once the paper is ready, it enters the printing stage, where massive machines apply the first layer of ink. This step prints the light background colors and fine patterns that give the bill its base appearance. High-speed offset presses handle this process, working at speeds of over 10,000 sheets per hour. Laser-guided systems make sure every sheet is perfectly aligned. If even one sheet is out of place, it's removed from production to keep quality high. Each sheet is then dried and stacked before moving to the next stage. This first ink layer may seem basic, but it's the foundation for everything that follows. Next comes one of the most important stages, Intaglio printing, where the main image of the bill, like the portrait of George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, is pressed into the paper. This process uses thick, high-pressure ink and engraved metal plates to create raised printing that you can actually feel with your fingers. The ink is pushed into the paper with over 20 tons of pressure, creating a sharp, textured finish. This is what gives the dollar its iconic look and feel. Intaglio also prints complex fine lines, scrolls, and patterns that are nearly impossible to copy. These sheets must dry for up to 72 hours before the next stage begins. At this point, the bill starts to look like real money, but it's still missing a few key parts. Now it's time to personalize each bill. Special printers called letterpress machines Add the green Treasury seal, the black Federal Reserve seal, and the unique serial number on every note. The serial numbers are printed in precise order, allowing each bill to be tracked. Different regions of the U.S. have their own Federal Reserve banks, each with its own code and seal, like B for New York or L for San Francisco. These markings help identify where each note was issued. These machines can print more than 10,000 serials per hour, but even one missing number can send a sheet to the reject pile. With serials and seals in place, the bills are almost ready for the world. Before a single dollar is released, it must pass strict inspection. Advanced systems using cameras and AI scan every sheet for even the smallest flaw, like a blurry print, misalignment, or ink spot. If just one bill in the sheet is bad, the entire sheet is removed and reprinted. Only when the sheet is 100% approved does it move to the cutting process. Here, sharp blades cut the sheets into individual notes, perfectly measured at 6.14 by 2.61 inches. These bills are then stacked, counted, and wrapped tightly into bricks of 100 notes each. Every brick is labeled and prepared for delivery to the Federal Reserve, and soon into your hands. With every bill inspected and cut, the final step is preparing it for distribution. The fresh notes are packed into bricks of 100 bills, then grouped into bundles worth thousands of dollars. These bundles are sealed, labeled, and tracked with serial numbers for full security. From here, they are shipped to the Federal Reserve banks across the country, which then supply commercial banks, ATMs, and stores. But not all bills go into circulation right away. Some are stored in secured vaults until needed. On average, a US dollar bill stays in circulation for about 6.6 years before it becomes too worn and is removed. From the printing room to wallet, each dollar travels a long, precise path, one that keeps the American economy moving every single day. Gold has been part of the U.S. history since 1799, when a boy in North Carolina found a 17-pound gold nugget, starting the first American gold rush. The biggest gold rush came in 1848 in California, attracting hundreds of thousands of people, known as 49ers, and helping fuel westward expansion. To manage all this gold, the U.S. Mint opened branches to turn raw gold into official coins. By 1900, the U.S. adopted the gold standard, meaning every dollar was backed by a fixed amount of gold. During the Great Depression, President Roosevelt removed the gold standard for everyday use and banned private gold ownership in 1933. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard completely, making the US dollar a fiat currency. Today, the US holds the world's largest gold reserves, over 8,000 metric tons, mostly stored in Fort Knox. The gold production journey begins with exploration. Geologists use satellite images, soil samples, and seismic tools to search for gold-rich areas, often in remote locations. Once a possible deposit is found, companies perform test drilling to confirm the amount of gold underground. Only if the site shows enough gold to be profitable does the mining plan move forward. Finding a gold mine can take years and millions of dollars. Less than 1 in 1,000 exploration projects become a full mine. But when gold is discovered, the race begins. There are two main ways to mine gold: open pit mining and underground mining. Open pit mining is used when gold is near the surface. Huge machines remove soil and rock layer by layer. Underground mining is used for deeper gold and involves creating tunnels to reach the ore. Tons of earth must be removed. On average, just 1 gram of gold is found in every ton of ore. The crushed rock is then carried to processing plants. Mining is expensive, but modern machines can move thousands of tons of rock each day. Once the gold ore is brought to the surface, it's sent to a mill for crushing. Powerful crushers and grinders break the rocks into fine powder. This increases the surface area, making it easier to extract the gold. Water is often added to form a slurry. At this point, gold is still mixed with other minerals. The goal is to make the gold free, so it can be separated in the next step. It's a dirty, noisy, high-energy stage, but critical for success. Gold is usually separated from crushed ore using chemical methods. The most common process is cyanidation, where cyanide solution is used to dissolve gold particles. This gold-rich solution is then passed through activated carbon or zinc to collect the metal. Another method is gravity separation, used when gold is already in free form. Although effective, chemical extraction must be done carefully to avoid harming the environment. In some cases, mercury is still used in illegal or small-scale mining, but this is toxic and widely banned. The gold collected from processing is still not pure. It contains other metals like silver or copper, so it's melted in a furnace at over 1,000 degrees Celsius to separate out impurities. The melted gold is poured into molds to form doré bars, which are about 80 to 90% pure. These bars are then sent to a refinery, where they go through electrochemical processes to reach 99.99% purity. The final product is shiny, pure gold, ready for banks, jewelers, or industrial use. Each bar is stamped with a serial number, weight, and purity mark. Pure gold bars are either sold on global markets, used in electronics and jewelry, or stored in secure vaults. Major buyers include central banks, investment funds, and large companies. Gold is one of the few materials that never rusts or decays. It can last forever. That's why people trust it as a safe investment in uncertain times. Some bars go to Fort Knox or global financial centers like London or Zurich. From deep underground to bank vaults, every gold bar has a powerful journey behind it. Gold is one of the rarest and most fascinating elements on Earth. In fact, all the gold ever mined in human history could fit into a single cube just 22 meters wide. That's how scarce it is. Its incredible resistance to rust and corrosion makes it one of the few metals that can last forever, which explains why civilizations have valued gold for over 6,000 years. One of the most incredible discoveries was the largest gold nugget ever found, weighing 72 kilograms, unearthed in Australia in 1869. Today, gold continues to shape economies and industries, especially in the United States, where Nevada alone produces over 70% of the nation's gold supply. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, massive mining operations run 24/7, digging and processing countless tons of rock, just to extract a few precious grams of this timeless metal. The concept of a passport dates back over 2,500 years to ancient Persia, where King Artaxerxes gave travelers written letters requesting safe passage through foreign lands. Later, during the Middle Ages, European kings and rulers issued documents that allowed trusted individuals to cross regional borders. These early passports were not for everyone. Only nobles, diplomats, or traders had access to them. The modern passport system began to take shape in the 19th century, as nation-states started forming and borders became more defined. However, passports were still uncommon until World War I, when governments introduced strict travel controls for security reasons. By the 1920s, the League of Nations helped develop standard passport formats, including photos, personal details, and official stamps. In the 20th century, passports became a common part of international travel. Countries introduced machine-readable passports in the 1980s, making travel faster and more secure. Today, many countries issue e-passports with embedded biometric chips that store digital photos, fingerprints, and security codes, making counterfeiting much harder. Now over 1.2 billion people around the world hold passports. What began as a royal letter has become a global tool for identity, security, and mobility. The process begins when a person submits an official passport application. This includes personal details like name, date of birth, place of birth, and nationality. Applicants must provide valid documents such as a birth certificate or national ID, and recent passport photos. Biometric data like fingerprints and a digital face scan are also collected in many countries. Government officials carefully check this information for accuracy and possible security risks. In some cases, interviews may be required. Only after everything is verified can the passport move to the next stage. Once approved, the passport goes to a secure printing facility. Each country has its own official printer, often run by the government or a trusted contractor. Personal data is printed onto a special page inside the passport, along with the holder's photo and signature. This page contains security features like holograms, microtext, UV ink, and color-shifting designs to prevent forgery. Most passports today are machine-readable and contain an electronic chip that stores biometric info. The chip is sealed inside the back cover of the passport. Each passport gets a unique number and is added to a global travel database. After printing, the passport is bound with its cover, usually made of polycarbonate or special leather-like material. The final product is inspected to ensure all details are correct and the chip works properly. The passport is then packaged and either mailed to the applicant or sent to a passport office for pickup. In some countries, this process takes 1 to 6 weeks, depending on demand and security checks. Emergency or express services can produce a passport in just 24 to 72 hours. Once received, the passport becomes a legal international ID and is valid for 5 to 10 years. It's not just a document, it's a key to the world. As of May 2025, the world's most powerful passport belongs to Singapore, offering its citizens visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to 195 destinations, more than any other country. This top ranking reflects Singapore's strong global relationships and efficient diplomacy. Close behind is Japan, with access to 193 destinations, followed by countries like Finland, France, Germany, and South Korea, all with over 190 visa-free options. Interestingly, while the United States passport was once near the top, it now ranks 10th, allowing access to 185 countries. Recent changes, such as Brazil reinstating visa requirements for U.S. travelers, have slightly lowered its global mobility score. Another notable case is Ireland, which, according to the Nomad Passport Index 2025, is considered the most valuable passport overall, not just for travel freedom, but also for its low taxation policies, high personal freedom, and dual citizenship benefits. These rankings, published by the Henley Passport Index using IATA data, show that a passport is more than just a travel document. It reflects international trust, policy stability, and a country's global influence.